What if you could learn to benefit from real-life tools that expand your faith and widen your perspective to see new possibilities for your life? Well, let me invite you to join us for our Word on Investing Summit, Money, Faith, and Mindset. It's a live virtual event. At the summit, you'll spend 2 days with world-renowned Christian business leaders and million-dollar entrepreneurs like myself, the Benham brothers, Dr. Myron Golden, and many others from the comfort of your own home. We'll be speaking on how your mindset, your walk with the Lord, and understanding economic principles from the Bible are the keys to unlocking your next level of financial potential. If you're looking to find a renewed sense of purpose in your financial and spiritual life, and make no mistake, they are connected, make sure to grab your ticket to the Word on Investing Virtual Summit happening April 22nd and 23rd, 2022, because registration will close soon. Get your free ticket at TRADEway.com/summit. That's TRADEway.com/summit. Hey guys, I'm David Mitchell, founder and CEO of TRADEway. What if God Himself gave you a blueprint for how to handle your money? Well, the Bible is a practical book. Let's dive in and see what it has to say about wealth, about risk, about leverage, and about investing, and uncover how trading in the stock market can be a powerful tool for moving towards your biggest goals. We're so happy you're here. This is the Word on Investing. Hey guys, welcome to the podcast again today. Listen, for years, we've dreamed of having our own charting platform at TRADEway, and we wanted it built specially for our coaches and our students, and we wanted it to incorporate all the amazing things that we teach, and at the same time making it as simple as possible to get started trading when you're new and all that, and also be able to do the complex things that you learn when you're advanced. And back in December of 2021, it became a reality for us because we launched Charts by TRADEway, which is the next generation stock and options trading platform that we have now. And today I have the pleasure of talking with the lead developer for this platform, Rance Maschek. Rance, our team knows and loves you as the guy that helped make all this happen for us, but that's not all there is to your background. So fill us in a little bit on some of the things you've been involved in your past, because to us it's pretty amazing.
Well, I'll tell you, first of all, when we connected on this project, I was extremely excited about it. I think that the fact that our values line up so much, the fact that there's such a strong drive to be, student-centric in the delivery of content, and that's what you wanted in the platform as well, made me really excited about working with you guys. But as you said, my background here has been extensive in the industry. I've came into the markets in the mid-90s, and my initial place in this was I was actually in the education space, teaching people, how to trade and about this. And one of the things that I found at the time was that there wasn't, especially around options trading, and that there wasn't really a great platform out there. And the ones that I had seen were all commercial grade. It's like what the floor traders would use or market makers would use. And so I wanted to bring something out that was easier to use for people. Started developing that in around 2000, and that ended up being acquired by TD Ameritrade. And about 2007.
Okay, hold on. I want people to stop and think about that a minute. Acquired by TD Ameritrade. So like some of you guys that out there listening that are traders already, you probably realize TD Ameritrade has some of the best toys of any brokerage company. Rance built some of those toys. And when I say toys, I'm talking about tools.
Yep.
And so I didn't want you just to slide right over that. All right, you can pick it back up.
All right. So it was real interesting when I became part of the team there, because within just a few months, I became director of options trading for the firm. So I was helping drive that whole experience. And we did some tremendous work with this. One of the things that happened was within the first year of me coming on as director of options there, options trading went from 9% of the transactions that Ameritrade did up to 15% of that. Now that that 6% jump, that's a huge number for that large of a firm. And then by the time I left the firm, it was actually about 25% of the transactions were options trades at Ameritrade. And that was my direct area of influence. I actually also helped rewrite the margin engine for TD Ameritrade. They were one of the very first large firms that could do more than just simple two-leg vertical spreads, like, bull call spreads and stuff like that. We got into being able to do really fancy things like ratio back spreads and four-leg trades like condors and butterflies. And that was the first large firm that could properly margin those type of transactions. And that was a margin engine that was very, I was the driving force for helping to rewrite that engine. I also, they launched a product called Trade Architect that was also a product that I had done. That has since been kind of wrapped into the online version of their Thinkorswim platform, but which led to that. So then they acquired Thinkorswim, and I was actually in charge of the integration of that. I ran the business side of the integration of Thinkorswim with like 140 different projects to pull that all together. So I have an extensive background both in the education side and from the brokerage trading perspective side as well. So then, when I decided to leave them, I just have this entrepreneurial spirit, and I just had a hard time being in a Fortune 1000 company in that type of environment. It was a cool time there, but I really wanted to go out on my own again, and so started to do that. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to build something that helped people with some of the very challenges that I saw at Ameritrade. And, when we ended up connecting, it's kind of jumping forward here a little bit, but we ended up connecting. One of the things that I really love about what we have in this platform are some of the really great tools within this to help not only give you the information to analyze a stock and trade, but by using the platform, help you get better at trading. And that's what starts to fit really hand in glove with what you guys do and how this really works out within that. So so my background has been in the industry for quite a while, again, from the education side, and then from the software, and then from the brokerage. And then when I decided to break off from that and do my own thing again, and then ended up hooking up with you guys, we've been able to build something I think that's tremendous for users. And we've seen just how much this has had impact on students being able to use this platform to not only trade, but to be able to improve and get insight into what they're doing in their trading, to have that input to be able to improve.
Well, that is amazing, because what we're talking about here is that Rance has taken the work of some other guys that, that we've had on our show. If you remember, we had Tom Sosnoff on our show a while back, and he owns Tastyworks, and Christy, the other co-CEO of Tastyworks, is a friend of ours at TRADEway. We know these guys. And if I remember the history right, they pretty much built Thinkorswim, and then TD Ameritrade bought it. And what you're saying, Rance, is you helped integrate that into TD Ameritrade.
Yeah, and what ended up happening with Thinkorswim, some of the things that we had built in the platform that TD Ameritrade purchased, that ended up becoming part of the Thinkorswim platform as well. That was part of our integration with that. And we made the systems work with the Thinkorswim system. And by the way, Tom, I love Tom. Tom is a tremendous trader and has, I think we have a lot of mutual respect for each other because of what we both have done in this industry. And, he's been, he was wonderful to work with during the time there. And then he went and did, obviously Tastyworks and that path. But he's been, it's been really great working together. And in fact, my understanding is we're working with trying to get Tastyworks into the platform as well. So one of the things, one of the things about the platform is that we don't care where you trade, right? We want to be able to service the student. And whether they want to trade at Ameritrade or E-Trade or, now the Schwab thing and some of the other boutique firms we have connected, and that it doesn't really matter. And they can be able to use the platform to trade where they want to trade. So we're kind of broker agnostic.
That's pretty amazing. What Rance is saying, guys, is when you get into Charts by TRADEway and you're just doing the charts on a stock that you like, Rance can tell you how this works better than I can, but probably if I tell you, it'll be better because I'll make it simple. But like you push a button, you can connect it to pretty much whatever brokerage company you like to use. Mm-hmm. And you're doing the trade within your charting software because Rance knows how to go in and connect it with all these brokerage companies. And that's what he's talking about there. So, I mean, that is so great. Even if you save like 4 clicks of a mouse, can make a difference of thousands of dollars in your trade because you got in it at a better buy point. So think about that. So Rance is helping us help you to be able to be looking at the chart and say, man, that is a perfect buy point. Boom. Click a button. You're off in TD Ameritrade and like you said, Rance, you're trying to hook up with Tastyworks maybe, someday maybe Interactive Brokers, although that one's more difficult for technical reasons. Not your fault, but their fault because they're like a dinosaur as far as, it was built so long ago and they just built on top of it. But those things are things to come. And the thing I love about Rance is he is always willing to add things that we at TRADEway want to add to make it better for you guys. And so, well, let me ask you this, Rance, what are your 3 favorite things that Charts by TRADEway can do for our students?
One would be the ease of use. And ease of use really comes in a couple areas here. One is that it's very intuitive. It's, what we wanted to do is build something that out of the box, somebody without having to go to a manual or go through lots of trainings and that would be able to understand and be able to do. And we've done a good job with that. But along with that is the speed of analysis that you can do because it's so highly visual. So it just makes it so easy, right? So I don't have to pour over, if I'm in the fundamental analysis, I don't have to pour over P&L statements. We give you visual graphs of how it's improving or decaying in its performance. And so just the fact that you can so easily navigate around, understand the platform, and be able to understand the data because of how we visually present it. So that would be one.
Hey, let me stop you. We'll try to help you remember where you left off because I'm interrupting, but see if you agree with me on this, Rance, because I've got an analytical side. You're probably 90% analytical as a human being, but would you agree with me on this? This has been my experience with students. You're always going to have some analyticals in the room. And what they want to do, they want to learn how to run fundamental ratios on companies. You don't need to do that anymore. It's done. And we provide that anyway. We do the fundamentals for our students. Mm-hmm. And I'm always teaching them, look, when you need to realize, the math is behind all this, but you don't need to do the math. You can look at a chart and it's more like art. And when I can get an analytical to try to access that part of his brain, or her brain, she becomes a better trader because she can actually say, okay, I do see the picture. I do see the pattern. And what you're saying is your software that you've built for TRADEway, what it does is it actually takes all the data and the math and all that stuff and turns it into visuals. And it's not that we don't understand you guys. Some of you guys love the math and crunching numbers and all that, but you can do it faster. And in trading, speed is important because when you're at a buy point, you need to nail that perfect buy point. Man, this is so awesome. And this software, I had never even thought about it myself, Rance, is to make it where you can look and just see which ones have hot fundamentals. And you just visually see it rather than looking at the ratios. And yet I've been telling people they need to do that more. And you've made it possible to do it that way. It's really cool.
It is. It's that old saying, a picture's worth 1,000 words, or tons of numbers if you want to get it in our case, right? So if you want to look at a P&L statement and balance sheet, the numbers are there. You can drill down and you can look at it. So if you want to do that, but what happens a lot of times is analysis paralysis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by being able to, by pouring through the numbers and doing all the calculations, by the time you get through all that, the market's moved.
Yeah. And you make a bad trade.
Yeah. And so to be able to have it presented to you in a visual way where immediately you can see what the earnings trend is, or, what they're, at several of the key ratios that we graph out over time so you can see how it's playing out. It just makes it so much quicker to do your analysis.
Yeah.
And if you want to do it, a couple more clicks, you can go and pour over the numbers for those that really want to do it. It's there. We had to have them to do the calculation.
Obviously. Yeah.
But it's not in your way. It's there if you want it. But the first thing you're going to see is the visuals help you make an analysis.
There you go. And 80% of the folks in any given class that we have don't want to see it. They do not want to do the math. There's two things that scare people the most: public speaking and doing math. So it just does it where it's art. And so for guys that you're in it for the fun, you're in it to make money, but you have fun doing it, you don't need to worry about going through and doing that. In fact, the visuals are even better.
I'll tell you what we find is that people that are real analytical, they'll go and pour into the numbers and look at it. And then they realize the visual is telling them in a second what the analytics that they're going to do that takes time to do is going to give them anyway. So then they stop doing that deep dive and just use the graphs and the visuals that we have, because it gives them the same information in a quicker way.
And then they actually have time to spend with their family.
That's it, right?
And are with the Lord, getting to know God better and all the higher things in life, and doing some of the other ministry type things that God put you here to do. So Rance is helping us do what's been our core philosophy since we started TRADEway so many years ago, decades ago at this point, that, we don't want you sitting in front of a screen day trading. We want you to do more position trades that last, now there's some things, shorter trades, obviously, when you get into the advanced stuff we teach, but we would rather you be in a trade that lasts an average of 2 to 3 weeks for an up play and maybe 3 or 4 or 5 days for a down play, and know how to do your homework at night, or maybe on weekends for a few hour, maybe, or 2 when you get good at it, 30 minutes. I can do it in 30 minutes. And get up Monday morning, take 10 minutes, place the trade, get your smartphone where it'll do an alert when it's at your stop out, do an alert where it's at your sell point, and then go spend time with the higher things in life, not watching that screen all day. And Rance has helped make that even better, because that homework part that you do at night could be literally, compared to how I used to have to do it with the old charting system where all it did was the chart, then I got to go out and do the fundamentals and all this. It can knock it down from 5 hours of homework to 30 minutes, literally, depending on what you're doing. Well, okay, what would your number 2 favorite thing be?
The number 2 would be our options capabilities. The options are a complex tool to trade in the markets. And what we have done is just so massively simplified this. And there's 3 specific things in options that I think is really helpful. One is that we have scans for finding trades in for options trades. And in that scan also has a time machine function. So you can go back in any day in the past and see what the answers were or what the scan was showing for that day, and then use another feature of the options thing, which is back testing. So you can take an old result of a scan, and look at it in the back testing mode and see exactly how it would have played out. So it builds confidence in the scan and the capability there. Back testing in options is huge because it helps people understand the behavior of these, what can be complex strategies in a matter of minutes versus having to paper trade it or, do this over time. You can just see it in a matter of just a couple seconds. Literally, you put on a start date, put the trade on, put an analyze date, and there's your answers of exactly how it would have played out. It graphs the performance day by day through the life of the trade and all that. So it gives you a deep understanding of how that option works or how that strategy works. Right. And then the other part of that is our option trade templates. So if you go to do a bull call spread or a bull put spread, or let's get into more complex iron condors or things like that, that by choosing that template, that is the trade you'll be in, right? So if I want to be in a bull put spread, when I was at Ameritrade, one of the things that happened so much is people that went to go into a bull put spread ended up being in a bear put spread. Now, there's a little bit of a difference there, right?
Yeah, like a huge difference. Yeah.
And so the stock did what you wanted it to do, but
And
you lost money because you were in the
yeah.
wrong trade.
Yeah.
There were so many times that people called up and asked to unwrap or get out of a trade because they didn't want to do it that way. And by doing the templates, you're assured that you're going to be in the trade that you want to do. So it's kind of like guardrails on. I used to call them training wheels, but it's not training wheels because even traders that do it a lot love this because it just with quick clicks, you can't make the mistake. You're going to be in that trade. So that's the options piece of this. It makes it so much simpler. The visual representation of the trade again makes it easy to understand how that trade's going to perform, and it just makes it so that you know that you're going to be in the strategy you think you're going to be in and all that. So just the options piece of this is a very, very strong part of the platform as well. So that would be my number 2.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. Some of the things you listed there. Well, for example, with us, when we get to a little bit more advanced classes where we're teaching these spreads, like a bull put spread, that's step 3 for us. It's a 2-day class that's kind of getting into more advanced trading. Well, number 1, we had to be really thorough in teaching exactly how to do that because, like you said, back then when we started teaching this, when you went into the brokerage software, you had to place it in there like we taught you exactly, or you ended up thinking you're doing a bull put spread, doing a bear put spread, or worse than that, a bear call spread, and even worse than that, a bull call spread, because now you're in a trade where the stock needs to go up, but you're thinking it's going to go down and you lose money because you just entered it incorrectly. And we were careful to teach that and say, you have to do it exactly this way. Well, what's nice is with Rance's concepts here built into the Charts by TRADEway system, it's got guardrails where you can't do the trade wrong. It's just like if you're wanting to do a bull put spread, you just click there and it's going to do it. It's not going to let you do it incorrectly. That is so fantastic. And then the other thing is, when we were teaching people the practice trading, or if you want to call it, we call it sometimes monopoly trading, using monopoly money, paper trading, we could do that, but we just had to do it with the stock and then estimate what the options would be, which is kind of okay from an academic viewpoint. We could never go back in time and actually do an old option trade that happened in the past and back test it and paper trade with options. Now we can, thanks to Rance. So all of these things are, to me as an educator, these are huge for the student and for the teachers, just absolutely huge. So thank you for knowing that and building all that in.
You did bring up one I didn't mention there in it, which is the paper trading part. So we have back testing, so you can go do that. But once you think you understand the strategy, one of the things you can do, you can have up to 4 $100,000 paper trading accounts that trade just like a real account. In fact, it's actually executed by real brokerage technology through our brokerage partnerships, but it's play money, right? And so it gives you a chance to really make sure you know what you're doing before you actually start to risk capital. That's a great add-on tool to that. So that's definitely helpful there.
Yeah, that's an understatement. It's huge because the biggest mistake people make, and I find this to be true, the more money our students have, the more they'll make this mistake. Well, I don't want to paper trade. What if I made $50,000? I'd be angry at myself because I didn't have real money. That is not a good way to think. Trust me. You want to do it with no money first, which is what Rance was just talking about. You get 4 accounts with $100,000 of play money in there, monopoly money, and you can place the trades just like you're supposed to do it and see if you're good at it. See if you're keeping the rules, and don't trade with real money till you're keeping the rules. Then Rance, what we do at our company is we have the next stage is called small money trading, where you do it with real money, but small amounts, like not more than $5,000. And for some people, that's $500 or $1,200, whatever small money is to you. And what you do is you trade with that small amount and try to have some success with it, potentially triple it, see how long that takes, including your expenses. And then when you get to the place where that's working for you, you now know you're keeping the rules before you use a large amount of money. So that's what small money trading means to us.
Well, and today you can do that a lot easier because commissions have basically gone away, right? Makes it so much easier to do it with small money.
Okay. So what's your third favorite thing?
My third one is the piece that and I'll tell you what, when we built this out, had I known how difficult this was going to be, I don't know if I would have taken it on. I'll be honest with you, but it's the part of the platform that helps people improve more than anything else in the platform. And that's the journaling capabilities within the platform.
That was going to be my next question. I was going to say, hey, talk about the journaling, how that makes that connection between the educator and the student and the trade sharing too.
Well, let me start with just the basics of the journal, and then I will definitely lead into that. So one of the things that we've built into the platform is this comprehensive journaling capability. Now, there's a lot of stuff out there. You can find different sites that have trade journaling in it, but there's two problems with it. Number one, they're not very good in the options arena. They especially with spreads and combo trades, like we were talking about. They basically treat them as the same way they do a stock. You buy it at this, you sell it at that. If you have two at the same time, they don't deal with those. Well, what we've done is, number one, we made it automatic. So if you trade through the platform, when you connect the brokerage in the platform, there's a checkbox there that says, do you want to auto trade this account? And with that checked, it will automatically track every trade that you do for you. And by the way, this works in virtual accounts as well. So you can journal what you do in a virtual, and then you can also do that in real, and then you can compare it and all that. But what the thing about journaling does, one of the things you can do is you can tag it. So you can tag all sorts of different things about, how you found that particular trade, what your outlook was on it, different things on this. And then as you do these trades, you'll get analytics for exactly those things. Like, let's just go, for example, if you're finding certain trades from, I'm just going to make this simple, Wall Street Journal, and you're finding certain trades from watching Mad Money on CNBC, right? And you tag it, WSJ, you tag it Kramer, right? And so then you get to see over some time, hey, are the picks I'm getting from this working for me? Right. So it's a really great way to be able to see how that is doing, and you get great analytics post trade on it, and it will show you what's working for you and what's not working for you, especially in certain strategies that you're doing. You can see what your performance is. You can see your win-loss rate. You can see your average percentage return, all that. So what it does is it gives you this insight that just looking at your brokerage account balance isn't going to even come close to. And that insight lets you know, I talked about how the system helps you improve your trading over time. It lets you know what's doing well and what's not, and what you need to go focus on. And the other part about this now, when you talk about real accounts versus virtual accounts, if you're doing well in a particular strategy in a virtual account and you move it to your real account and it doesn't do as well, the vast majority of the time, and I love your small trading strategies, right? Because what that does is it helps to keep the emotion side down, right? But the vast majority of the time, what happens is emotion comes in play because it's real money now.
Right.
So people hold on to those losses longer than they should, and things like that. So what it does, it lets you compare, hey, how did I do in the virtual versus how am I doing in the real? So you get really good analytics to show you what you need to focus on to be able to improve. So it's a really strong insight that you get, this kind of coach, this virtual coach that looks at each trade you do and helps you understand what your results are with it. And that is just invaluable. And what happens for most people, you hear all sorts of places out there how important it is to journal. The challenge is journaling manually never works for a long period of time. And you got this notebook of all these trades. How do you cross-reference and mix and match and that this all happens for you within the platform very, very easily and automatically. Right. So it's a really helpful part of it. And so I'd say that that's the part more than anything else helps people improve on this.
Yeah. Wow. Something you mentioned that's pretty amazing to me is the reason we invented the idea. Everybody talks about paper trading, but most people don't do that very long because, like, if they have 2 or 3 successful paper trades, they say, well, why don't I put money in there and make some real money? So we came up with the idea years ago with the small money trading. What's so great about the software is that you mentioned you can compare how does it change when I switch from paper trading, where you can cheat. You can say, oh, I actually would have gotten out of that a day earlier. You can say that when you're paper trading. And then when you put real money in, you can't cheat. I mean, it's going to show you what you actually did. And the software will let them compare those two and see if they're, greed and fear and all these different emotions that affect our trading. How is it actually affecting, and do I need to work on this psychological aspect of my trading? So that we've never had a way to measure that until we met you, Rance. And so this is really exciting. And I cut in on you there. What about the trade sharing?
Yeah.
part?
So this is something that we really wanted to dive into and make happen. And I think it's a great way to help students out now. And that is that, depending on the courses that you're taking, and how you're coming through the system here at TRADEway, you'll have access to different portfolios, right? So those portfolios are basically accounts that are being traded by coaches, and that just like you can go into your journal and see how you're doing on certain things and all that, well, you'll be able to have some insight into some of what the coach is doing on these as well. And it works in a couple ways. One, as a coach does trades, they get into it, they get out of it, they got certain notes about it. You'll actually be able to look at a history of all of those trades, when they got in, when they got out, what their reasoning was that they note in the journal, and that you'll actually be able to see that. But we actually even take it a step further in that when a coach does a trade, it will actually send you a push notification. It will actually beep on your system. You'll be told that, hey, David did a trade. That you can go in and look at what that is. It can even put it in a staging environment where you can go and look at it. And within a couple of clicks, if you want to do that trade as well, now I just have to disclaim it, that's your choice to do the trade. So you have to look at it, make sure it fits for you. But it just takes a couple clicks and you can do that exact same trade. So
Wow.
You get to basically look over the shoulder of a coach on an ongoing basis to see what they're doing, follow them if you want to follow them, and be able to see their journal of their notes and their reasoning behind it, and that as they go on. So it's a really helpful way to have a coach literally with you as you're doing some of these trades, literally doing exactly what they're doing.
Wow, that is so valuable. That is so cool. Guys, if you're new at this, and you have to understand with TRADEway, we want to make this simple. So you learn this stuff line by line. You don't try to master it all at once, but eventually you find yourself understanding these strategies and systems and starting to do them. And when you get to that place, however far you go, this software is going to make it easier for you. And when you're a beginner, it's a little bit scary, and we want to hold your hand. So this software makes it possible for you to actually see a trade that a coach has done, maybe on a webinar, a live webinar with a lot of you guys on there, where you did a trade together. You can actually see that trade through the system. And as Rance said, if it's still in the same time period where it's still at a good buy point, you can actually do the trade. That is phenomenal. Well, let me ask you another one. We've had this forever. We've had a thing called the David Mitchell settings, where I have saved people, I don't know, have months and months of time, because when you go in and you want to set up your indicators, a lot of people don't realize that you can set those up in many different ways. And so we kind of set them up like I have used them for 30 years. And so I've tested them. I like them that way. They work for me. And that's real. It's not something you read in a book. It's like my trading experience uses these settings. So with this new software, you can actually grab those David Mitchell settings and have it set the indicators up that way, right? How does that work?
Yeah. So what we've done, it's beyond just the indicators, but let's focus on that part. There's a whole lot of settings in the system that basically mirror the account that you set up when they get it, right? So that means that, whatever the chart settings are, whatever the periods of time you like to look at, whatever the indicators are. And we even took it a step further, where now what will happen is that the colors will even be the same, right? So that if you're in a webinar and you're in a session, we're talking about, hey, look, when the instead of talking about when the 15-day moving average crosses over the 50-day moving average, or whatever the particular setting is, we can say, look, when that green line crosses through the red line, because you're going to see the green line and the red line just like I see the green line and the red line, right? So it makes it so much easier. So first of all, for somebody to have to go set up their account at different brokerages, different places and all that to be the exact settings you have is difficult. Yeah. And then even when they do it and it's set the same, the fact that the visual representation is slightly different on every platform, right? Mm-hmm. So they're watching a webinar and they're looking at their screen and they're having to like, wait a minute, how does this equate to what I'm looking at? They're looking at the exact same thing. And if you want to make a change, well, for example, if they're in a session and one of the coaches wants to give them another chart profile with specific settings, dynamically live right there, they can set that up and every user will have that setting on their system instantly as well. So it really lets you have impact on what the user's seeing. So it's set up exactly how you have it set on your system, David. Yeah. And now they can go do their own thing as well, of course, but yeah. At least out of the box, it's exactly how you have it set so that they're set up for the potential of success right away. And it makes that whole starting curve, that out of the box, right? They're getting going with this thing and they're ready to go. Well, wait, I got to go set all this stuff up. I have to go do this. Is just so easy. It's already there for you. It's exactly how you have it set for them, David.
Yeah. And that's like 30, some strategies, 40 years experience of my life. And you set this up and boom, it's in there for you. That's your starting place. You can, like you said, you can change them when you want to someday. Mm-hmm. Now, our coaches are always coming up with and teaching strategies and systems, combinations of strategies. And sometimes they'll create actual scans to go find these things or find a bunch of them and stick them in a watch list for a particular strategy, like maybe call writing or something like that. Mm-hmm. And we've always been able to do that. We had to send these things out by email or something. Well, now all of a sudden, Charts by TRADEway has this built in too. So how does that part work?
Well, I'll tell you, when you send it out by email, by the time they see the email, right, and they go put those stocks in their list, already there's been time moving in the market, actions happening. What this allows us to do is, these scans and watch lists. Well, let's go with the watch list first. So there'll be watch lists in here that will be set up so they can go in and see, your particular lists that have been set together by the coaches of stocks they're watching right now. But then on top of that, the scans, these actually work two ways. There's a scan. It's actually mathematically done. So we work with the coach, we take what they're doing, we create a math formula for it, and it runs through that. But the other one that's so cool here is we've set up a way now where the coaches in the scans can have curated lists. So it's not just a mathematical thing that happens and bam, it's there. They actually take maybe that as a starting point, and they'll go in and say, does this one make sense, right? Because the fact that it showed up on a scan, there might be some other things that knock it out, right?
It's not always perfect,
Not always. What this allows them to do is go in and the student gets to see the curated list of stocks that the coaches have not only run math on and all, but done their research and said, yep, this is one I like. And so it's not just a math scan, it's actually a math scan that then the coaches have looked at and go, yes, I like this one. No, we're going to kick that one out. So it's truly a curated list that fits. And these go right along with all the different courses. So when you get a particular course, that course has its corresponding scans and feature set that will immediately be turned on the platform for you as well. And so those lists will be there and those scans will be there for you to be able to utilize once you've learned the strategies that particular course teaches. The lists are there to work with right away. So, and you don't have to go through email and add them in and all that stuff. If they make a change to that list, instantly that list is updated for every user, every student out there at the same time. So it makes it a lot easier for the student to, again, get in, take action, get the job done, and get on with their life.
Yes. Wow. That's awesome. Man, it just takes, like when you do a scan, you've done this longer than I have, or as long. You've done it with technology longer than I have. And, it starts out, it kicks out maybe 200 stocks that fit the scan. And then we used to click the space bar and go stock to stock and look at them and eliminate the ugly ones, keep the pretty ones as far as the patterns. And you end up with maybe 30, okay? So then you go through that again and look for the best 10 maybe. And that's a long process. And what this system does is the coach has done it already, and you get both. You get the scan, but you also get the culled out one where they're the ones that we think are the very best of the best. So this technology is so fantastic, and it's so great for you guys to have this curated list from the coaches, but then you get to make the choice of which one is your favorite out of that list. So it's just a great help. And Rance, we can't really say thank you enough for helping put this together, something we've dreamed of for years at TRADEway, having our own charting software. And then you said, yeah, but it can do this. Yeah, but it can do this. Yeah, but would you like it to do this? And now all of a sudden it's this magnificent system that you've made possible for us. Thank you so much.
I just to share kind of a little thought on kind of putting all this together as we're talking about it. What this does is, besides just being a research platform for a student to do what they want, it's a way to interact with you as a firm, right? As educators for these students on an ongoing basis. And think about this. The coach, your coaches are in the market all day long, right? They're looking at this the whole time. You know, the student, the idea here is you're teaching them how to be able to come in, do what they need to do. We've talked several times about making it faster, the ease of use and all that here, to be able to come in, do what they need to do, and then move on with their life. Well, by having the coaches looking at these things, curating the list down, it just clears out all this noise for the student and lets them get down to the brass tacks of the stocks that matter. And then they get to see which one of those are going to fit for their specific style, risk tolerance, whatever, and be able to do those trades. But instead of looking at this huge list, now you've got this whittled down to a small list to be able to really take action on. And again, making it quicker and easier to trade in the markets and make these decisions as they go forward. And then, of course, be able to analyze those decisions and make sure that you're constantly improving.
Yeah. And behind all of this, the great thing that so many things out there promise, oh, this will give you time freedom. Oh, this will give you time freedom. And a lot of those things, you don't even see your kids because it takes so much time to do the thing. And this is not what we want at TRADEway. We literally wanted this system for a long time because it provides the time freedom. Because once you place that trade, you go and you live your life with your kids, with your spouse, with the Lord, with your ministry, and the higher things in life God put you here to do. And this has helped us get to that goal even beyond where we ever thought we would be, Rance. And we thank you so much. And the guys, listen to this. Don't forget to register for our Word on Investing virtual summit coming up. I mean, it's live online summit coming up this Friday and Saturday. And Rance is going to be one of the speakers. So you get to see this guy live talking about how this system works, and who knows what he'll do in his presentation. I can't wait to see it myself. I'll be there. I'll be doing some teaching on stock trading. I might do a couple of things on entrepreneurship from the Bible. And we'll have so many other amazing guests. Like we're going to have Dr. Myron Golden, which is everybody's favorite. And we'll have the Benham brothers. They're everybody's favorite also. And more great speakers. So be sure you go out there and you sign up for that. It's the Word on Investing Virtual Summit coming up this Friday and Saturday. And get your free ticket now at TRADEway.com/summit. That's TRADEway.com/summit. Rance, I can't tell you thank you enough. This has been awesome. I hope you can come back and do this with us again soon.
Oh, absolutely. Would look forward to it very much.
All right, guys. Well, have a great day, and we'll see you next time.